Hey everybody, this video is going to be on the Scioto Trail from the Scioto Mile, which is downtown Columbus, to the ending point, which is about 5 miles to the south. For this video, I drove down, I parked at Confluence Park, which is listed as a Columbus Park, but actually it's not. It's land they leased the Boathouse restaurant. If you look at the website for Columbus Park, it says the lot is leased to the Boathouse and they can't guarantee its availability, but I had no trouble for 3 or 4 days in August. From the trail, the view of the downtown skyline is, in my opinion, stunning. If you look at this picture, the Rhodes Tower is all the way to the left. Moving to the right, the tall Art Deco building is the second tallest building. That's Levesque. It was the tallest building until Rhodes Tower was completed in 1973. Third to the left is the Huntington Center, which is the fourth tallest building in Columbus. And the tall building all the way to the right is the Vern Rife State Office Tower. It's the fifth tallest building in Columbus. At this point, I'm riding under one of the many steel railroad bridges in downtown Columbus. To my knowledge, they're all still active. The Scioto Mile, this area, was a project of Mayor Michael Coleman. It was constructed between 2011 and 2015. It added 33 acres of parkland to downtown Columbus. I believe it was made possible by the elimination of 2 low-head dams. Incidentally, that's the same thing that Ohio State has done over the last several years. I really enjoy riding downtown. I haven't gone there enough, but every time I go, I see a lot of people using the trail, and that's nice to see. The trail is super wide. It's easy to pass people. It's just really a great place to ride. Early on, the land in this area was very fertile. It was used for agricultural uses, but an early canal was actually routed through Columbus, which really put it on the map. The National Road, Route 40, passed through Columbus. And then finally, the railroad came to Columbus. I guess all these things came together to make Columbus an economic power prior to the Civil War. When making this video, I found out that Columbus was one of the leading manufacturers of buggies prior to 1913. I read some estimates that said that 1 in 6 buggies in the world were actually produced in Columbus, Ohio at one time. Apparently, the industry was already in decline when the flood of 1913 hit. The industry was moving to automobiles anyways, and Columbus companies weren't doing as well as companies in Detroit and elsewhere. After the flood hit, things really changed. Things changed because the factories and the slum housing near the river were destroyed by the flood. But the destruction of the flood gave Columbus a chance to rebuild. Columbus starts to reinvent itself. It builds some parkland into the cityscape. Some significant architectural work is also completed during this time frame, to include the Levesque Tower, which we talked about before. It was completed in 1927. At completion, the building was the 5th tallest building in the world and the tallest building in Columbus. The building was initially built by an insurance company. I believe it was American Insurance Group. That insurance company did not make it through the Great Depression, but one of the owners eventually becomes Levesque, and the Levesque Tower, that's how it gets its name. It's kept ever since. Here I'm headed up to the Rich Street Bridge to take a look at some public art. What's coming up, is one of 3 bronze deer made by the artist Terry Allen. Terry Allen, I guess, is a country singer. He made these 3 deer collectively. They're known as the Scioto Lounge. That's what the deer is taking a look at. I found the second deer behind COSI. COSI is the Center of Science and Industry. They have science exhibits as a favorite place for field trips and the like. It's a popular destination, a lot of family outings there. On the West Bank during this day was the Latino Festival, so things were kind of packed. I looked around, I was trying to find the third deer. I never did find it. I was told it was to the front of the building, and this is a science exhibit in the back of the building. And they had a tractor exhibit here also. This is towards the front, and there was a petting zoo. I never did find that third deer. I'll have to save that for another day. This is the view of the Scioto River from the Main Street Bridge. as I cross back over the east side. Back to the east side is the Scioto Mile Fountain. That's that picture here. Moving south on the trail is the Scioto Audubon Park. This is a new park. I think it was built in 2009. There is a detour that they put in because of some construction going on under 71. You see the yellow parts of the line. That's the area that's closed. The detour includes those red dots, where on the detour they make you take a couple 90-degree angled turns, which I'm not a big fan of. I actually fell off the bike at one part of that. I think it's better, and this is a marked detour, to go, let's see, Civic to Mound to Short to Sycamore to Front. That's going to get you where you want to go. You might have to backtrack for the Scioto Audubon though. So from Front, then you would turn on to Whittier, and that Whittier would take you into the Audubon Park. The video here is still the Audubon Park. I found some gravel. I guess I call it gravel. I guess it's really just limestone. And I was able to spin around there for a little bit. It's nice to kind of get out the asphalt and try something new. I think I remember this section pre-renovation, pre-Audubon Park, and I think it was actually on a police impound lot. Lots of this land was. So they really cleaned it up and made it a nice place to be. The water tower you saw has 2 observation decks. There's a climbing wall adjacent to that goes up, I guess it's 40 feet. There is a lower portion of the trail too that I'm on here. This is like an urban trail here. I'm pretty sure this is just wood chips, but it's taking me right along the Scioto. The Scioto is actually a national migrating bird protected area or something of that sort. An adjacent cemetery, Greenlawn Cemetery 2, is also very important for migrating birds. There's an observation deck coming up here that you can look out on. One day I went out to look on it. The water was all the way past the observation deck. The next day I came out to look at it, and the water had receded. You might not be able to see it really well here, but this is the area where the water receded, and that's the observation deck. Then I had to take a picture of that because somehow I thought it looked like an alien. It turns out it's not an alien. These are some pictures of the water along the Whittier Peninsula. It's pretty impressive. Whittier Avenue then takes you over some railroad tracks, and then you go down on Front Street for a little while, and then you go over the bridge on Greenlawn, then it drops you down on the trail south of Greenlawn on the west side of the bank, and that's what this video is here. So the trail here is running adjacent to Berliner Park. I saw this little offshoot and took a chance that was going to take me to Berliner Park. Berliner Park is a series of, I think they're softball diamonds, and I think there are 30 of them in total, or around 30 in total. It's one of the places Columbus Parks and Recs suggests that you park to access the trail, the Scioto Trail. I mean, as you can see, there's a lot of parking in here. There are also a lot of signs telling me where you can't, or telling you where you can park, which would suggest to me that this place must be pretty busy at times. This is something you can see from 71, and I've looked at this place from 71, zooming past, and it does appear to get very busy, although it's not super busy on this day. Berliner Park also has some adjacent single-track mountain bike trails. You can see that kind of over to the left, but it's in this area for sure. Single-track mountain bike trails, that's really not my jam right now, but I wanted to come down and kind of check it out. And I use this trail to just tie back into the Scioto Trail here in a second. All right, so that was the end of the trail there. It ends at 104 right now on, let's see, that would be the west side of the Scioto River. I've seen a couple plans. One plan extends the trail underneath 104. Another, I'd say more ambitious plan by, let's see, Metro Parks takes the trail near the Audubon Park and takes it down the other side of the river, and they do a pedestrian bridge over 104 with thoughts of extending the trail into Grove City. So I would bet one of those things happens. I think there's money for that now. But it'll be interesting rather to see which plan takes shape. When I was initially scouting this ride, I assumed that this was the newer section of trail that ended back there at 104. But in reality, I think that's the older section of trail, or it's the older section of trail. Not entirely certain. When I look at the improvements, most of the improvements I see, or I suspect that recently happened, are those improvements that go over the bridge. Green Lawn and Whittier bridges, they've got that dedicated lane now. I think it's a shared use path, actually. So I will bet that's what connected the trail. The Audubon Park, I think, is, to me it seems recent, but I think that was put in 2009. So, hope you liked the ride. Hope you liked the route. It was surprising to me how much I liked it. Hopefully, the edit on this video goes okay, because I want to get this video out there. As always, have a good day. Like, follow, share. Here we go again. Doesn't really matter, because I'm going to keep doing this, because it's better than yard work. Peace, everybody.